Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about solving quadratic equations using the square root method. So the square root method, we can only use it there's no middle term. If we look here at ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, it means that we have no b term. So something like 2x squared plus 4. We have only our x squared and our constant. We don't have our term with just x. So what we want to do is we want to isolate the square term using inverse operations, meaning if we want to get rid of multiplication, we're going to divide. Then we're going to undo the radical and we're going to square root both sides. So as we've talked before, the radical and square, the square root and the square, are inverse operations. Just like multiplication and division are inverse operations, addition and subtraction, they undo each other. And so if we see a square, we're going to take the square root to get rid of that x squared. And then we're going to add a plus or minus. So why would it be both a positive and a negative answer when we take the square root? Well, here's why. If we have 2 squared, we have 4. If we do negative 2 squared, we also get a positive 4. So if we take the square root of 4, we have two options. We could have 2 or we could have negative 2. Because when we square both a positive and a negative number, we get a positive number. So the square root of 4 is both positive and negative 2. So anytime we take the square root, we need to make sure that we have a plus or minus. If the radical can simplify, we need to simplify it. So you'll see in your spiral review this week, you'll be doing a bit more simplifying of radicals, just to kind of refresh that. And then lastly, we'll solve for x if there's any other steps that we need to take to solve. So let's compare this with last week's method, which was factoring. So we have x squared minus 25 equals 0. So let's think about factoring this. If we factored this, we'd have x minus 5 and x plus 5 equals 0 because it's a difference of 2 squares. So then we can set each of these equal to 0. And we add 5 to get x equals 5, and we subtract 5, which gives us x equals negative 5. So that is using the factoring method from last week. Let's see if we use the square root method. So I have x squared minus 25 equals 0. Well, I need to get x squared by itself, so I will add 25 to the other side. So I get x squared equals 25. Then I take the square root, and I get x equals, well, I took the square root here because in order to get the squared to go away, I take the square root of both sides. Remember, whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So now that x squared turns into just x, and the square root of 25 is 5, but it's going to be plus or minus 5 because both a positive and a negative 5 squared give us 25. So my final answer, x equals 5 and x equals negative 5. So as you can see, either option, whether we use factoring or the square root method, will give us x equals 5 and x equals negative 5. Okay, so let's try some more examples here. So x squared is already by itself. So since it's already isolated, all I need to do is take the square root of both sides. So I take the square root of both sides to make the x squared turn into x. So I get x equals, and the square root of 144 is 12. So I have plus or minus 12 here. So x equals 12 and x equals negative 12. I don't mind which format you leave it in. Just be careful on assessments, what form, if it asks you to write it as 1 or 2. On your notes, you can write it as either, but typically our answer is x equals 12 and x equals negative 12. Okay, so our next option here, we have to get x squared by itself. So to do that, I need to use inverse operations to isolate x squared. So guys, this is just like if it was just x or y or q, whatever variable it is, just imagine getting that variable by itself. So I'm going to subtract 30. So I get 8x squared equals 24. Now I divide both sides by 8, And again, the square is typically, square root's typically our last step. So I get x squared equals 3. So I need to take the square root of both sides to get rid of that square. And that's going to give me x equals, well, square root of 3 can't be simplified anymore. So my final answer is plus or minus the square root of 3. Your answer is not correct if you do not have plus or minus, or if you don't have both positive and negative answers. That's only half of it, so you'd only get half of an answer. Okay, so let's try the next one here. We're gonna isolate x squared. So I first, just like I would if it was x or y or k, whatever that may be. So I'm gonna subtract 30, and I get 2x squared equals 40. I divide both sides by 2, and I get x squared equals 20. So now I take the square root of both sides, and x equals plus or minus 20. But as we can see up here, it says if the radical can simplify, you must simplify it. Well, just a little refresher on radicals. Remember, we're looking for perfect squares. So for radicals, we look for perfect squares. So think to yourself, is there a perfect square that goes into, oops, there should be a square root symbol there. Is there a perfect square that goes into the square root of 20? Yes. We can split that into the square root of 4 and the square root of 5. So remember, we want to figure out what that square root is and divide. So square root of 4 and the square root of 5 turns into 2 square root of 5. So x equals plus or minus 2 square root of 5. Okay, so again, you're going to get some radical simplifying practice in this week. Okay, our next one here already isolated for us, which is great. So I just need to take the square root of both sides. So square root of x squared gives me x. And the plus or minus the square root of 18. 18 can be simplified more, right? Because 9 goes into 18, and 9 is a perfect square. So I have x equals plus or minus the square root of 9, square root of 2. So my final answer is x equals plus or minus 3 square root of 2. So again, to have a full answer, you need plus or minus, and it needs to be simplified. Okay, next one here we need to isolate. So I'm going to subtract 3. And I have x squared equals 49. I take the square root of both sides since I now have x squared by itself. And this is nice because 49 is a perfect square. So I get plus or minus 7. Okay? And last one on this page, on page 27 here, we have x squared equals 7 because I needed to add 7 to the other side. Because again, x squared has to be on its own side. And I take the square root of both sides. So x equals plus or minus the square root of 7. 7 can't be simplified anymore, so I'm done there. Okay, let's go ahead and flip to the next page, on to page 28. Okay, so same thing, we're going to do the first 6 together, and the last question at the bottom, what would happen if you have a negative, and then you're going to work on the you try on your own. Okay, so I already have x squared isolated, so I'll take the square root of both sides, and x equals plus or minus the square root of 10. 10 doesn't have any other perfect squares, so I'm done. Now I need to isolate x squared, so I'll add 7 to both sides, and I get x squared equals 21. I take the square root of both sides, and x equals plus or minus the square root of 21. Once again, there are no perfect squares that go into 21. Okay, now here I have 4x squared plus 30 equals 54. Again, as we mentioned on the other side, none of these examples have x with them. They only have x squared in the constant. So I subtract 30, and I get 4x squared equals 24. Divide both sides by 4, and x squared equals 6. Now I take the square root of both sides, and I get x equals plus or minus the square root of 6. 6 cannot be simplified anymore, so I'm done. Okay, now we have x plus 3 quantity squared. So what we want to do is we want to take the square root of both sides. Sometimes we look at this and we think, I want to FOIL, but it's actually better for us not to FOIL and factor. So since the squared term is by itself, and I should say squared expression, since this is in parentheses here, I can take the square root, okay? So I can take the square root of both sides to get rid of that 2. So it's just like when we have an example like 2 times x plus 1 equals 4. Yes, we could distribute that 2 and do 2x plus 2, but it would be just as fast to solve by dividing both sides by 2 to get x plus 1 equals 2. So we could do that option set. It's the same thing here. We already have our x squared expression by itself. So we have x plus 3 equals the square root of 31. And we have to remember that plus or minus there. 31's a prime number. Nothing goes into it. And now I need to subtract 3 on both sides. So now we're looking at this. Okay, how do we format? We have plus or minus the square root of 31 minus 3. Well, it's just like when we have something like x minus 2. We would just write it as x minus 2. So I'm going to put this term in front. So I'm going to say negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 31. So again, I just put that right in front. So the square root of 31 is a real number. I can take the square root, it's going to give me a decimal, but I can find that number. So what my answer is I have x equals negative 3 plus the square root of 31, and x equals negative 3 minus the square root of 31. So crazy looking answer, but it's a true number. If we plug that into a calculator, we'll get a decimal. So let's try the next one here. We have x plus 1 squared minus 4 equals 10. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides because I want to isolate that x, or that squared term. So I get x plus 1 squared equals 14. So now I want to take the square root of both sides, and that gives me x plus 1 equals plus or minus the square root of 14. Okay, we can't simplify 14 anymore. So I need to still get x by itself because x is not alone yet. So I'm going to subtract 1, and x equals negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 14. So I have two answers here. Remember, we're always going to have two answers when we take the square root. So x equals negative 1 plus the square root of 14, and x equals negative 1 minus the square root of 14. So yes, crazy, but those are real numbers. So you're just isolating that squared term, and then we have to add or subtract or even maybe divide in order to get x completely isolated by itself. Okay, last one here, we're going to subtract 7 on both sides. So we have 4 times x minus 2 squared equals 12. Now we still don't have this term by itself, so we have to divide both sides by 4. So we have x minus 2 squared equals 3. I take the square root of both sides, so x minus 2 equals this plus or minus the square root of 3. My last step to get x by itself is I add 2. So x equals 2 plus or minus the square root of 3. Okay? So again, we can write that out as two answers. So you're going to do the you try on your own and post a picture of that. And we're just going to talk really quickly about this last question here. It says, what happens if you ever end up with a negative under the radical? So if I solved here for x, I would get 2x squared equals negative 4 by subtracting 15. And then I get, divide both sides by 2, and I'll get x squared equals negative 2. I take the square root. If you were to plug in the square root of negative 2 on your calculator, you're going to get an error. So you cannot take the square root of a negative. We call this not factorable. So if you ever have a negative under the square root, it's not factorable. Go ahead and do the you try and post it onto the Canvas assignment. Have a good one, guys.